SABC News. The African Perspective.
The latest news this hour, I am Onele Nzinzi. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has entered into economic development with three of its development partners, which are Spain, Germany and the European Union, as it deepens the efforts to ensure adequate security and good governance. The agreement was signed in Abuja ahead of the 67th Summit of the Authority of Heads of State. The Germany envoy Dorothy Wenzel says her country has been of tremendous support to ECOWAS over the years and will continue to give necessary assistance that would promote regional stability and good governance.
Germany has continuously supported ECOWAS and its member states in this process, and we believe that regional integration promotes economic development, political stability, inclusive societies, and environmental protection, amongst other things. Hence, we are honored to support ECOWAS Vision 2050 on building a citizen-centered community for peace and prosperity.
The Eastern Cape government in South Africa says the death toll from the recent floods in Umtata has now risen to 95. This includes 2 teenage males whose bodies were recovered yesterday afternoon. Provincial government spokesperson Kuselwa Hankis says 86 of the victims have been identified and collected by their families, and efforts are continuing to identify the remaining bodies. Hankis says assistance has already been provided for 26 burials since last Thursday. Acting Premier Mlungisi Mvoko has thanked the communities and NGOs for their support, saying the government remains committed to assisting survivors rebuild their lives. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says despite numerous challenges being faced, the country's democratic order is in good health, anchored in a progressive constitution and a constitutional court that continues to safeguard the rights of all. Ramaphosa was reflecting on his weekly newsletter following the celebration of the 30 years since the establishment of the Constitutional Court, a key facet of the multi-party negotiations that preceded the democratic transition. Kenny Mapanga reports.
President Ramaphosa notes that we should be proud of the court's history, which includes its first case in 1995 on the constitutionality of the death penalty, which sets the tone for a humanistic jurisprudence grounded in human dignity that endures to this day. Ramaphosa also calls on the nation to honor the proud history of the court by continuing to work together as all of society to realize the full promise of our constitution.
As South Africa grapples with the outbreak of foot-and-mouth disease, the Department of Agriculture has urged owners of cloven hooven animals to limit their movement. Flare-ups have been reported over the past several months in 5 of the 9 provinces, with the KwaZulu-Natal province being the worst affected. Last week, the Department of Agriculture announced that it is building up vaccine stocks and expanding inoculation to curb the spread of the disease. And lastly, Iran's ambassador to the UN has called the U.S. attacks on the Iranian nuclear facilities blatant aggression. The U.S. State Department has issued a global warning advising American citizens worldwide to exercise increased caution as the world anticipates Iran's response to the attack. Speaking during an emergency session of the UN Security Council, Amir Saeed Iravani dismissed accusations that Tehran was seeking nuclear weapons.
The United States, a permanent member of this council, and the only state that has ever used nuclear weapons, murdering millions in 2 cities, has now once again resorted to illegal force, waged a war against my country under a fabricated and absurd pretext, preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. What a bitter and tragic irony.
For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Well, it is 6 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. It's time for The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African Time. Thank you so much for choosing us this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining Channel Africa. Welcome to the family. If you've just joined us, download the SABC Plus app so you can travel with us wherever you go. Alternatively, you can stream our show where you can see our lovely studio, the presenters at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. And if you have DSTV, it's channel 802, OpenView channel 628. And as always, you can stream us on www.channelafrica.co.za. We're broadcasting live from the Auckland Park studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. How's your day going so far? How was the weekend? Fill me up on what you were up to this weekend. Our WhatsApp line is +27 63 406 9126. Here's what's coming up on the show this afternoon. We get into conversation with the South African fintech company Float, who has partnered up with the payment company Adumo to let shoppers pay in 4 monthly installments for their purchases using their existing credit cards. No extra interest. It works instantly at checkout. All you need to do is pay a 25% upfront cost of the total purchase, and the rest is spread over 3 months. The following retailers have already signed up and are already offering this service: Safari Outdoor, Verimark, and Cellu City. This is in an attempt to boost the store's sales. What do you think of the idea? Would you be jumping on it? I know sometimes when during the month, when the money is a bit thin and you're waiting for the next payday, but you want to purchase something almost immediately, being able to now pay 25% of it and then the rest over the next 3 months might just be the solution that you need. So that's the conversation that we'll be having today. And then later on, as it is a Monday, we talk all things property on Mondays. Flipping houses. Buying a property, flipping it and turning a profit, or hopefully turning a profit. What are the do's, the don'ts? What are the red flags we need to look out for? Because I know at some stage I wanted to do it myself. I was like, it sounds like a brilliant idea. Buy a property, clean it up, fix it up, refurbish it, and then sell it and make a profit. It sounds easy. But let's find out what the challenges are when you're trying to invest in such properties. And then we'll speak to people who have done it and made a success out of it. And then later on, we've got what caught your eye. We'd love to hear from you. What caught your eye from this past weekend? +27 63 406 9126. And on this day in African history, it was on the 23rd of June 2011, where Africa's first female president was honored. Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf received the 2011 Nobel Peace Prize for her efforts in securing peace, promoting economic and social development, and strengthening the position of women. There's a little piece of history there with you. Thank you so much for joining us on The Upside. It's going to be a fun one, so don't go anywhere. It's now 10 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Channel Africa, your voice, your sound, and your home. Stay logged right here.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Nous allons danser au son de Haya, que je dédicace à vous tous, chers auditeurs, qui êtes en train de suivre cette émission Mix Vibration. N'oubliez pas, vous pouvez nous suivre à partir de l'application SABC+. Vous choisissez Channel Africa pour suivre l'émission en direct. Nous allons danser au son de Haya.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Connecting Africa to the world. The Upside with Nompumelelo Ngubeni and Tebogo Lekhuleni. Bringing you Africa's brightest ideas and untold stories.
There is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. I wake up in the morning.
12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting
afternoon. What a beautiful song that is. +27634069126. 9126. I'd love to hear from you this Monday afternoon. Welcome to The Upside if you've just joined us, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African Time. Stream us on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and at Channel Africa on YouTube, so you can see the studio. I know sometimes people wonder, does the voice match with the face? You can then decide if you go onto those social media platforms and let me know if the voice and the face, if they match this afternoon. What a time we live in nowadays, because this was unheard of. Being able to see the radio personalities was an unheard of thing back in the days, right? Radio was radio. You created the images in your own head, how they look like, based on how they sounded. Now you can actually see the studio, see the presenters, which is absolutely fantastic. So check out those social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. It is now 16 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African time. We get ready to get into a conversation now with the founder of Float. They have partnered up with a payment partner or payment gateway called Adumo. This partnership allows consumers to purchase products at various stores and not pay the full amount up front. So if a product is, for example, 100 Rand, and you don't have 100 Rand with you, you can pay 25%, which is 25 Rand, of that amount up front, and the remaining 75 Rand you paid over a period of 3 months, no interest charged. What do you think of that concept? Will this be helpful to you as it stands right now? And I ask this because I know some people are getting paid on the 25th of June, which is 2 days from now. And maybe this weekend you are not able to buy a certain item because you didn't have the full amount. Will this solution from the fintech company called Float, will this solution and this partnership with Adumo, will it help your pockets? I would love to hear from you. What are your reservations about this kind of an initiative? And if you don't have reservations, you're just excited about it and you want to know when it's going to be launched in which stores, let me know on our WhatsApp line, +27634069126. 406 That conversation is coming up next.
Upside. On the upside, your voice matters. In-depth, powerful stories and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Ngubeni talks money that deserve to be heard. Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27634069126, and we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am,
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views, share your opinion, engage with the community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Well, in a world where the cost of living keeps climbing and big purchases feel heavier on the wallet, a new solution is changing the game for South African shoppers. Imagine walking into your favorite store, picking what you need, maybe what you want as well, and paying for it over 4 months, completely interest-free, and all using the credit card already in your pocket. No forms, no extra debt, no hidden fees. Today we're diving into the exciting partnership between Float, the fintech company, Africa's first card-linked installment platform, and Adumo, a leader in South African payments. This isn't just fintech talk, it's about giving everyday South Africans more breathing room and helping businesses thrive at the same time. Joining us to unpack this game-changing collaboration is Alex Forsyth Thompson, founder and CEO of Float. And trust me, this is a conversation that you want to hear for your next shopping spree. Alex, thank you so much for your time and welcome to The Upside.
Hi, Tebogo. Thanks for having me on the show.
Such a game changer, this innovation. And I might even argue, what took so long, Alex?
Great question. Look, I think for the last few years, most South African consumers will know that What they know today as buy now, pay later has taken the world and SA retail by storm. Float is a very different version of that, and actually, the model has been prevalent in a lot of countries, like specifically in Latin America, markets like Brazil, Mexico, for many, many decades. And I agree that was the question we asked ourselves: why would a solution like this not be available in a market like South Africa, where consumers that have credit cards are often drowning in credit card debt?
Yeah.
And long story short, what we built is allowing consumers to use their existing credits, I guess, in the most no-brainer way possible, splitting the credit card swipe into a number of installments. And we're super excited to not only be in market, but also about our partnership with the Duma.
Alex, let's talk about Float. For a lot of people, they may be new to hearing about Float, the fintech company, and may not understand what it is that you do. Who is Float, and what is it that you do?
Yeah, so Float's what we would call a card-linked installment platform. Basically, what we allow shoppers to do is to, at a merchant that's on the Float platform, is to buy their goods, get them today, but pay for them in flexible, interest-free installments using the credits on their existing credit card. Have the credit available on the card. We basically break up the purchase into bite-sized monthly installments. Obviously, the benefit for the consumer is that they get to rather pay off in monthly interest-free installments than having a big chunk built from their card. And the benefit for the merchant, which is super important because that's where we make our money, is that they would get a sale they might not have got.
Is there any difference to what you're offering as Float and then the partnership with Adumo to the ones that you were talking about earlier, the buy now, pay later options? Is there a difference that is noticeable to the consumer?
Yeah, the key difference is that Float is not a lender. We don't extend any new credit to consumers. So they're not actually signing up for anything. There's no impact on the credit record. It's helping them to use existing credit in the smartest way possible. And that's the key difference. So because it taps into existing credit that's been pre-approved, our solution just has a lot more flexibility. You're not being burdened by new debt. And importantly, there's no such thing as penalty fees or late fees on our platform ever.
So how do you go about collecting the outstanding fees from the credit facility of, say, for example, my credit card?
Yeah, great question. So the consumer will link, when they start off the purchase, they'll link their credit card. We just check that it is a South African issued Visa or MasterCard credit card.
Okay.
It's literally as seamless as a normal credit card swipe.
Yeah.
At that time of the purchase, we'll check that they've got the full credit amounts available on the card. It's almost like your affordability check in a way. So have you been pre-approved for this credit? And then we will deduct it like any sort of recurring billing from the card each month. And obviously we model all of that into our pricing from the merchant, and we charge the merchant a commission on each of the transactions. And they effectively carry the cost. But the benefit for them, as I said, is that they're getting a sale that they probably wouldn't have got if they didn't offer that installment option.
And we are seeing the cost of living, it's rising, and I mentioned earlier how this can have a direct impact in the consumer's pockets. Are there stores that you can list for us where we can find this Float Adumo partnership that's currently running?
Yeah, look, Adumo is a well-known South African payment company. They've got thousands and thousands of merchants, and basically what this partnership allows Adumo to do is to get their merchants to offer Float via, that are existing Adumo customers. So they don't have to sign up with us directly. But some of the merchants they have on their network are Safari Outdoor, Verimark, Salu City, Tom's Vision Optometrist, Time Art. There's many. And then, of course, on the Float network itself, we have, there's over 2,000 stores that offer Float directly. Some of them are like iStore, which is Apple, Samsung, the Pro Shop, Cycle Lab, Tiger Wheel and Tire, Cape Union Mart. So we're becoming extremely pervasive. and all customers have to look for either online, they'll see the float, our little balloon logo at checkout, or at a physical store, there'll be a QR code at checkout.
Is there a limit, a maximum amount that we can spend, or is it based on your own credit card and your own affordability that you have? So you can pretty much buy anything as long as it is float and Adumo accredited.
Exactly. So we don't apply any limits per se.
Okay.
The limit is always to what's available on the credit card. Just like any regular credit card swipe, if you have the limit available on the card, you can use float for that purchase. And again, the benefit to the consumer is they're simply breaking their credit card swipe up into interest-free little monthly bundles, but they still get the rewards points. They're not, again, signing up for any new credits. It really is a no-brainer way to use the credit card.
You've mentioned a few benefits for the merchants. Are there any risks, any financial risks for them in offering this kind of payment option?
For the merchants specifically?
For the merchants specifically, yeah.
Look, for the merchants, pay us as transactions are processed, right? So that's the majority of our revenue. So, generally, if they're not processing transactions, they're not paying any fees. The fee on these options is generally a bit higher than what they'd pay on a normal credit card. But the benefit for the merchant is that, one, they get a sale through, as I've said, that they might not have got.
Yeah.
But two, the basket size, the size of the purchase, because that consumer is able to split it up over, 2, 4, 6, 12 months even, depending on the merchant, is often a lot bigger. So for most merchants, I mean, there's very, very little risk for offering it. It's a sort of pay as you play, so to speak. And basically for merchants, it's another tool in their arsenal. It's not meant to displace normal card payments or EFT payments. It's a complementary tool to help them get additional sales over the line. And obviously, it's a great benefit for their consumers.
And Alex, you'd mentioned that as long as you're South African and you have a credit card, what about foreign nationals?
Yeah, so for now, only South African issued cards. We do have some things in the pipeline that will be taking float to other countries. But for now, must be South African Visa, MasterCard issued cards.
And we certainly hope.
And the main reason for that is just with a view to, we do believe that these spaces will start to become regulated. We fall, I guess, we kind of already fall in the of existing card regulation, but we want to focus on adding benefit to South African consumers first and foremost.
Alex, thank you so much for your time. We certainly hope that it will grow, not just in South Africa, but throughout the continent, because I feel this kind of offering would be very helpful to so many people, change their lives. But incredible work that you're doing, and congratulations on your partnership and collaboration with Adumo. We certainly hope that it will be impactful in many people's lives and also the merchants themselves. Thank you so much for your time.
Cool, Tebogo. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
The voice there of Alex Forsyth Thompson, founder and CEO of Float. You see, now you don't have to pay the full 100% upfront cost of a product. You can simply pay 25% of the product, of the total cost, and then the remaining 75% can be paid out over a period of 3 months. All you need to have is a credit card. No additional forms to fill out, no interest rates or interest fees. How incredible is that? Is this something that you'll be signing up for or looking forward to? +27 63 406 9126. It's 30 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Chandu Kulikeke has your sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. Starting with football news, South African football club Orlando Pirates, who finished second in the Betway Premiership and reached the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League last season, have finally appointed a new coach. Moroccan Abdeslam Odo, who coached Maruma Gallants last season, will take over from Jose Ribeiro, who had a very successful stint with Bucks. The appointment of the 46-year-old former Moroccan professional footballer may come as a surprise, but Odo is a UEFA Pro license holder, and during his brief tenure at Gallants, he coached the team to 5 wins, 4 draws and just 3 defeats in 12 matches. One of those victories was a 2-0 win against the Buccaneers at the Free State Stadium in March. In rugby news, Blissboks head coach Philip Snyman says he is more than happy with the way South Africa concluded the 7th season. The Springboks 7's A squad clinched the Rugby Africa Sevens Cup in Port Louis, Mauritius yesterday. The Blissboks were also crowned the World 7 champions in Los Angeles in May. After the Blissboks' success at the World 7 Championships, the Boks 7A side also wanted to show their worth. They beat defending champions Uganda 26-0 in the quarterfinals and then advanced to the final with a 19-12 victory over Zimbabwe. The South Africans then faced a very physical Madagascar for the title. After enjoying a 21-7 lead at halftime, South Africa finally won it 26-12 to add another piece of silverware to the trophy chest. Former Banyana defender Nokuma Tlowu has advised Banyana to be united if they want to make it far in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco starting in July. Banyana go into the competition as defending champions after clinching the title in 2022. The former Banyana international says the team must remain united and work together, and only if they do that will they successfully defend their WAFCON crown. Banyana are in Group C with Ghana, Tanzania and Mali. Their opening match will be against Ghana, a team that missed out on the 2022 WAFCON, and Matlow acknowledges that it will not be an easy game.
To play in Ghana, it's not easy. It's going to be tough. But I think if the team, they can work together, they can pull each other and work as a team. I think we can do well against Ghana, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be walk in the park. In the park, they need to work even harder to win the first game, because it's very important to win first game.
Cricket news: Proteas men's test captain Themba Bavuma has been ruled out of the upcoming 2-match test series against Zimbabwe due to a left hamstring strain. Bavuma sustained the injury while batting during South Africa's second innings on day 3 of the ICC World Test Championship final against Australia at Lord's Cricket Ground. He is said to undergo further scans to assess the extent of the injury. Keshav Maharaj will captain the side in his absence. The squad will depart for Bulawayo on Tuesday, the 24th of June from OR Tambo International Airport. The first test gets underway on the 28th of June, followed by the second test from the 6th of July, with both matches taking place at Queen's Sports Club. Let's wrap our report with tennis news. Marketa Vodosova claimed her first title since winning Wimbledon 2 years ago after she beat Chinese qualifier Wang Xinyu in the Berlin Open final. The 25-year-old Czech has struggled with injury over the last year, but put that behind her to win 7-6, 4-6, 6-2. She saved success points in a tight first set tie break, but came through that to take the opener. The 23-year-old Wang had seen off 4 top 20 players to reach her first ever tour final, and she showed great resolve to get a break in the second set and level. That is all for now. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sports, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
36 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Let's say good afternoon to Buntle Headbush, who has your business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Good afternoon. In our top story this afternoon, South Africa has signed a $1.5 billion loan agreement with the World Bank, aiming to overhaul its transport, energy, infrastructure and reignite the country's economic growth. South Africa's National Treasury says a development policy loan aims to unblock key infrastructure bottlenecks which have severely hindered the country's economic growth. The financing should also limit rising debt service costs as it carries more favorable terms than commercial borrowing. South Africa's Cooperative Governance Minister Velenkosi Nihlabisa has highlighted the lack of revenue base for collection as one of the factors contributing to poor performance of some of the country's municipalities. This follows a report by the Auditor General which revealed that only 41 of the country's 257 municipalities achieved clean audits for the 2024-2025 financial year. Hlabisa says the well-performing municipalities are overshadowed by the majority of struggling municipalities. He was speaking at a high-level dialogue in Midrand, Johannesburg, where political parties have convened as part of the ongoing review of the 1998 White Paper on Local Government.
A number of municipalities constantly fail to spend MIG and other grants allocation. Some of our municipalities are not viable as they have no revenue base for collection. As a result, they are classified as distressed and some of them are literally bankrupt. Sometimes they are unable to pay salaries.
Oil prices have stabilized this afternoon after prices initially spiked at the opening this morning. Prices touched 5-month highs before turning negative and then recovering again. Analysts say oil prices will remain on edge as markets continue to closely watch for Iran's next move and possible escalation. U.S. airstrikes on Iran have sharply raised fears of retaliation that could target key oil infrastructure and shipping lanes. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil transit point, is at the center of concerns over potential supply disruptions. The European Union's Commissioner for Industrial Strategy, Stéphane Séjourné, says European Union countries should create joint reserves of rare earth minerals to prevent supply chain disruptions and economic blackmail from China. Séjourné says all European countries today have strategic reserves for oil and gas and should do the same for strategic raw materials. He said he would launch further tenders this year to promote alternative raw material sources. The EU announced last month 30 new raw material projects outside the bloc to increase its supplies of metals and minerals essential to its competitiveness in the energy transition, as well as defense and aerospace sectors. Now for a look at our indicators this afternoon, $1 US in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 Naira 554. In Botswana, it's 13 Pula 33. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 56. And in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 9. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 Real 51. Russia, 78 rubles 39. In India, it's 86 rupees 49. China, 7 yuan 18. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 99 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities this afternoon, gold is trading at $3,366 per ounce, while platinum is at $1,288 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $77.60 $1.79 a barrel. And those are your business news at this hour. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Interracial relationships. And now you are based in the States and you are married to a beautiful white woman, white lady.
I learned that, for us in our culture, we literally can speak our mind. I remember when we had started dating and whatnot, and, she picked up like a little bit of weight. And me, I was like, oh, wow, you must be happy in this relationship because look at you. You look great. You're even picking up some weight. And she got really, really offended. And it took I think it was about a couple of hours before I could realize that, because I could tell that she was off after that. And it took me a while to figure out what it was. Until later when I was talking to her, I'm like, you're really, really off today. And then she expressed that, yeah, because you're telling me that I'm picking on some weight. And I'm like, in my culture, when you are gaining some weight, it means you're happy. Yes. So that's what I was trying to imply.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Tebogo Lekhuleni. The Upside. On the Upside, your voice matters. Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tamengo talks money. Africa in business. 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tamengo talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tamengo talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle.
We had Achi by Diamond Platinums featuring Kofi Olomide. It is now 10 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. This is still The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective, with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni. Stream us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and at Channel Africa on YouTube. So you can see the studio, see the presenters, and if you have DSTV, it's channel 802. And if you have, if you have, I know everyone has an iPlay, Play Store, Google Play. I don't know what they call them. iStore, Play Store. Download the SABC Plus app. Not only will you have access to the SABC content, that's movies, series, but you'll also have access to the radio stations of the SABC, including Channel Africa. So download it on your Apple or on your Android and take us with you wherever you go. How was your weekend? I'd love to hear from you. If you are a sporting fanatic, I'm sure you were very excited to see Sundowns, Mamelodi Sundowns. We'll relive the moment in the next hour. But Mamelodi Sundowns, Borussia Dortmund in the Club World Cup. Currently, personally, when I saw that match, I was very excited to see that Mamelodi Sundowns are able to hold up, toe to toe against some of the best leagues in the world. Bundesliga, the German league, they were able to hold up against Borussia Dortmund. 4-3 was the final score. 4-3. Well, they lost. Sundowns lost, but what a game that was. Aren't you a proud South African and Mamelodi Sundowns supporter? It is now 9 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. Let's pay a bill. When we come back, we sing happy birthday to you.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio, but sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Midday vibes, great programming, and good company. This is Channel Africa. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Tamo ndi
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside.
Well, it's a happy Monday to you and also a happy birthday. If you're celebrating your birthday today, allow us to sing you happy birthday. We hope you're having a fantastic one. Also, I'm hoping that you didn't go to work. And if you did go to work, I hope that they made a big deal about your special day, brought you the cake and the balloons. All we are saying from the Upside is happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday indeed. It's now 5 minutes before 2 p.m. Central African time. Someone asked me a very interesting question. I was like, I don't know how to answer that personally. You know how when someone sends you an email, they'll start off with, "Hi, I hope this email finds you well." What happens when it does not find you well? How do you respond? Are you ever honest when you respond and say, "Oh yeah, it did find me well, thank you so much," and just continue? Or do you let them know, "My boss, my manager, I'm actually not doing that well today. It did not find me well. Can I get the day off?" How do you respond to, did this email find you well when you're not well? I'd love to hear from you. +27634069126. Some music coming your way in the second hour. Don't miss out on this conversation. If you are a house flipper or someone who wants to get into that space, buy a house, flip it, renovate or refurbish, and then sell it for a profit. This conversation is going to be for you. We'll look at the red flags, what to look out for, the do's and the don'ts. And especially for those who are very optimistic and very excited about it because they saw a program on television, but the reality of it might be very different to what you are seeing on television. All right, so if you've been thinking about flipping houses as a business, as a side hustle, or as an investment opportunity, let's look at the do's and the don'ts when it comes to that. Don't go anywhere. This is The Upside on Channel Africa.
The Upside, taking the African perspective to fresh levels.
I don't get plans to use you, baby. No, no. Queen, I see you working. You deserve all the working. Diamonds, pearls, and purses, yeah. Oh, no. If you had my love, give you all my trust. Oh, all my trust in you. Oh, oh, oh. I just wanna know what it's like. Loving you is all that feels right. Need you on my side, I decided. Swing my way, shawty swing my way. Do this thing our way, baby we fly away. Baby swing my way, shawty swing my way. Baby swing my way, oh baby we fly away. Yeah. You say I ain't working, you say I ain't perfect, no. I'm up with the work and on you. Shake when I see you. Wanna make you mine already. Give you all my time, gon' let me. I'll show you. If you had my love, give you all my trust. Oh, all my trust in you. Oh, oh, oh. I just wanna know what it's like. Loving you is all that feels right. Need you on my side, I decided. Swing my way, shawty swing my way. Do this thing our way, baby we fly away. Baby swing my way, shawty swing my way. Baby swing my way, oh baby we fly away. Swing my way, yeah. I've been wishing for the day you swing my way.
My Way, Malik Berry. That's how we like to do it here on Channel Africa. My Way. By my way, I mean your way. This is radio that belongs to you. Stories that belong to you. Your perspective. The African perspective. No other story, no other narrative. Only yours. Welcome to The Upside with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni. For now, let's get your latest in news with Onele Ntsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Looking at your top stories this hour, ECOWAS enters into economic development with three of its development partners. And newly appointed Iranian army chief warns of a decisive response to the U.S. bombardment. Latest news, greetings to our listeners. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has partnered with Spain alongside the European Union and Germany for economic development and regional integration initiative in which the West Africa is as it deepens efforts to ensure adequate security and good governance. The agreement was signed in Abuja ahead of the 67th summit of the Authority of Heads of State. The German envoy Dorothy Wenzel says her country has been of tremendous support to ECOWAS over the years and will continue to give necessary assistance that will promote regional stability and good governance.
Germany has continuously supported ECOWAS and its member states in this process, and we believe that regional integration promotes economic development, political stability, inclusive societies, and environmental protection, amongst other things. Hence, we are honored to support ECOWAS Vision 2050 on building a citizen-centered community for peace and prosperity.
The Eastern Cape government in South Africa says the death toll from the recent floods in Umtata has risen to 95. This includes 2 teenage males whose bodies were recovered yesterday. Provincial government spokesperson Koselwa Hankis says 86 of the victims have been identified and collected by their families, and efforts are continuing to identify the remaining bodies. Hankis says assistance has already been provided to 26 burials since last Thursday. The acting Premier Mlungisi Mvoko has thanked communities and NGOs for their support, saying government remains committed to helping survivors rebuild their lives. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says despite numerous challenges being faced, the country's democratic order is in good health, anchored in a progressive constitution and a constitutional court that continues to safeguard the rights of all. Ramaphosa was reflecting in his weekly newsletter following the celebration of 30 years since the establishment of the Constitutional Court, a key facet of the multi-party negotiations that preceded the democratic transition. Kenny Mapanga reports.
President Ramaphosa notes that we should be proud of the court's history, which includes its first case in 1995 on the constitutionality of the death penalty, which sets the tone for a humanistic jurisprudence grounded in human dignity that endures to this day. Ramaphosa also calls on the nation to honor the proud history of the court by continuing to work together as all of society to realize the full promise of our constitution.
South Africa's Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen says people who do not comply with regulations put in place to assist in curbing the spread of foot and mouth disease will face criminal charges. The regulations cover, amongst others, the movement of livestock from disease management areas and the operation of auctions. Outbreaks of the disease have been reported in 5 provinces. The first batch of vaccines arrived in the country last week. Steenhuisen was speaking during his oversight visit in Karen Beef Feedlot in Heidelberg in the Gauteng province.
If you have people who move animals outside the disease management area or break those protocols, we're going to see breakouts in other parts of the country as well. And that's what we really want to avoid. That's why we declare a disease management area to try and contain the virus. The virus can only move out of the disease management area if people break the regulation relating to the movement or potential spreader events. So it's going to depend entirely on the cooperation.
Lastly, the newly appointed Iranian army chief, Amir Khatami, has warned of a decisive response to the U.S.'s yesterday's bombardment of its main nuclear sites. Iranian state media broadcasted him meeting senior colleagues, the BBC's Will Leonardo reports.
As Iran scrambles to formulate a response to America's attack on its nuclear sites, this televised meeting seemed designed as an act of reassurance and defiance. We consider martyrdom a great blessing, Amir Hatami tells his generals, but right now we are fighting for victory. Among the army fatigues in rhetoric, there is little sign of how Iran intends to hit back. General Hatami, a former defense minister, has only been in the role for 10 days after his predecessor was killed in the initial wave of Israeli bombings and assassinations.
Recapping on your top stories, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has entered into economic development with 3 of its development partners, which are Spain, Germany and the European Union, as it deepens the efforts to ensure adequate security and good governance. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Well, it's the second hour of The Upside. Welcome to Channel Africa, the African Perspective with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni. It's 7 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. In this hour, we talk all things property. Have you been considering or playing with the idea of buying a property, whether it's a dilapidated old property, refurbishing it and then selling it for a profit, flipping it? Has that been something that you've been thinking about, considering, or are you yourself in that particular space and don't really know how to navigate it? You've realized that it's a bigger mountain to climb than you initially thought. Well, we get into a conversation with Titi Mba, who is no stranger to flipping properties. We'll get some tips from him in terms of what to look out for, what are the red flags, and also what are the opportunities for investment when it comes to this style of property investing, which is flipping. And then later on, we've got What Caught Your Eye, where our producer Nombuiselo Tango will be joining me in studio to share what caught our eyes during this past weekend. And you're more than welcome to send through a WhatsApp and let us know what caught your eye on +27 63 406 9126. Stream us live from our studio in Johannesburg, South Africa, at Channel Africa on Facebook and at Channel Africa on YouTube. DSTV channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and as always, you can download the SABC Plus app to stream award-winning content from SABC. That's SABC TV, radio, and Channel Africa. Of course, you'll find on the SABC Plus app. It's now time for us to relive a moment from this past weekend. Mamelodi Sundowns were playing against Borussia Dortmund at the Club World Cup. FIFA Club World Cup this weekend. Played very well. The final score, let me not tell you what the final score is. Listen in and let's relive this moment.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
In recent weeks, East Africa has seen a disturbing rise in human rights violations. In Kenya, digital activist Rose Njeri was arrested under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act after creating a tool for citizens to oppose the Finance Bill 2025. Meanwhile, in Tanzania, Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi and Ugandan lawyer Agatha Atuhaire Zaire reported being detained, tortured, and sexually assaulted by security officers.
East Africa needs a reset. We need to get back East Africa to where the founding fathers are. When President Nyerere and his colleagues Jomo Kenyatta and the Ugandan counterparts fought for independence, they fought for independence to get Africans out of poverty, to get Africans out of slavery. The leaders who took up power have since gotten into regression.
Neto Agostino, co-leader of the United Green Movement Party.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Your afternoons just got even better, fresh and exciting. The Upside, hooking you up with today's news from an African perspective.
We got sunshine, we got a midday kickoff. It's Mamelodi Sundowns against the European blue blood of Borussia Dortmund. Matthews. Lucas Ribeiro with a lovely bit of skill as he's slightly overrun it. No! Brilliant stuff! Lucas Ribeiro! Glorious chance! Which he takes! It's a gift by Williams! And the Mamelodi Sundowns lead wiped out thanks to a hugely unfortunate error. Ledlaku able to steal it here. Yankuta can't get back at him. It's an opportunity for Matiba! Borussia Dortmund getting a much-needed result here. The final score, Mamelodi Sundowns 3, Borussia Dortmund 4.
Let the Upside transport you from Cape to Cairo every weekday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. People and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting in-depth, powerful stories and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real with Tebogo
Mind the Heart. Mind the Heart, featuring Kabomo Vilagazi. Is it Kabomo? K-Bomb? It's that one. I always wonder when people name themselves, give themselves stage names. If I were given that opportunity, what stage name would I come up with? And oftentimes, because I don't want to say I'm old school, but I would probably just leave it as my name and surname. Abo Sugar, what? XX, no. Just keep it simple so that everyone and anyone is able to pronounce my stage name. It is now 16 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. In this hour of The Upside, we are talking all things property investments, right? And we're talking specifically about flipping property, buying a rundown house or home and turning it into, flipping it as in like refurbishing it, making it look all brand spanking new, and then selling it for a profit. We've seen enough before and after pictures on Instagram, on TikTok, but there is a harsh reality behind all of those pictures. Oftentimes it requires decision making, it requires budgeting, and it's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. I don't think we see that. We see the before and the after, and we get very excited and excitable about flipping property. But let's find out from an expert, someone who's done this before, how practical this really is and whether it is for you. Because in a world where bricks and mortar can build real success and real wealth, more and more South Africans are flipping the script, quite literally, on property investment. The art of buying a rundown home, breathing new life into it, and selling it for profit has become one of the hottest conversations in real estate. But beyond the glossy before and after Instagram posts lies a world of risk, hard work, tough decisions, and serious strategy. Today we are joined by one of the most respected voices in the game, Tato, aka Titimba, CEO of Black Real Estate, to unpack the real truth behind property flipping in South Africa. TT, thank you so much for your time and welcome to The Upside.
Hey, what's good, my brother? Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday. Hey, I'm always excited to chat with you, TT, because I know you bring truth and reality to conversations. You don't hide anything, which I love. TT, let's talk about property flipping. How big is it in South Africa? Because personally, I've seen it in America. We watch the shows and we get very excited about it. But how big is it in South Africa? For the most part, people just buy property because they want to live in it. We hardly see it as I want to buy it, flip it, and then turn a profit from it. How big is it in South Africa?
I think it's relatively big in particular spaces in South Africa. You know, and I'm saying this because obviously I'm exposed to quite a lot of guys that are starting to warm up to the idea of flipping.
Yes,
a lot of guys are now finding value in creating their own kind of extra monetary path.
Yeah.
If you may call it that. A guy's got extra money that he's maybe invested in and he doesn't want to sit in the investment. He wants to use those funds to go and flip a property. And it's becoming quite popular. It's gaining a lot of traction, but I don't think the mass in general have woken up to that. In fact, a lot of people, they still on the concept of building like bedrooms in their homes and then they rent those out. It's some sort of flipping if you think about it, because you are kind of increasing the value of your property by building rooms at the back. Sometimes they do it because they want to sell the property at a higher value than it was before they put bedrooms. So it depends on how you look at flipping as a concept on its own.
We'll continue the conversation, TT, right after this, because I want to know the reality behind it all, because there's money that's involved, there's decision making that's involved, there's hard work, because for a lot of people, they see it on Instagram and they think, oh, I can do this, it's easy, and it's really not. And you are someone who's walked the path and you've experienced it, so I'd love to pick your brain and find out what happens on the ground. It's 20 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. We'll continue the conversation with the CEO of Black Real Estate, Mr. Tato, aka Titimba.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed. Tamo kutuli branchi ndi Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can only get it on the Upside. Every weekday, 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
Well, let's continue our conversation with the CEO of Black Real Estate, Tato, aka Titimba, about flipping property. Has this been something that you were considering yourself and you're not quite sure how to navigate it? Well, he is the right person to tell us a bit more about it. Titi, let's start in the beginning. If someone is looking to get into the flipping property investment, what kind of properties do they need to look out for? What are the telltale signs that this property has the potential to be flipped without it draining my pocket?
I think one of the crucial and most critical decisions that you need to make when you're on a flip is obviously the location. Probably the most important part of your decision is that.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in trying to flip a house that's been on the market for 2 years, for example, because you need to ask yourself, why has it been on the market for so long?
Yeah.
Why hasn't there been interest from the market in terms of acquiring that particular property in question? So you got to look at location. You got to look at the proximity to amenities, because obviously that determines the interest in terms of people wanting to buy that property. Is it close to shopping malls? Is it close to hospitals, schools, churches? All those amenities that everyone wants to have in and around. And normally we look at, I would say, give or take a 2 to 5 kilometer radius. Then you know that the property will obviously do well if it's close to those. Is it close to the highway?
Yeah.
In terms of entrance and exits? And also another consideration that most people obviously don't really understand about flipping is that you need to have cash to flip. Unfortunately, you need to have cash. You can still go through the route of trying to get a home loan and a bond, but if you're getting a bond to flip a house, then how are you going to flip it when it comes to the construction part?
Oh,
because you need funds for that.
and it's one thing to consider that. You also need to consider the renovation costs. If you're trying to flip it, you want to make it look better, refurbish it, and so on and so forth. How do we go about then estimating how much this project is going to be so that we can avoid a massive surprise later on?
Well, that's why you have people like us who have been in the construction space for many years. You know, we work with quantity surveyors who are almost like accountants in the construction space. So they would be able to work out for you how much it's going to cost you to flip that particular property. They use a formula and a matrix that helps you to kind of work out how many bricks you might need for that particular house that you've bought. Maybe you might need to break down that house from scratch and build from scratch. How much is that going to cost you versus what you are offering? You know, like I said, when you flip, it really depends on what you want to do. Do you just want to flip, cosmetically, or do you really want to get into the detail of that house and really upgrade it to a point where you might have bought the house for R1 million and it cost you 2 million to flip? Now you've got a 3 million rand cost. How much markup are you putting up there to make a bit of profit? Are you going to make 500K out of that? Are you going to make $1 million? So you got to do the maths. There's something that's called a BOQ, which is a bill of quantities. It gives you an idea of how much painting are you going to need here? How much carpentry work is going to go into here? How much tiling and flooring work? How much garden and landscaping has to go into that? So you got to really be prepared, because half the time when you flip, you got to also put in a 10% allowance for things that might change, right? If you're flipping in summer, for example, you have an issue with rain and unpredictable rain. And unfortunately, once you've got the guys on site, you have to pay them for the day, whether it's raining or not. And that's why it's always best to flip in winter.
Oh, you see, there's a top tip right there. I didn't know. You see, now we know.
Think about it. It never rains in winter. We deal with the cold. So you're guaranteed that whatever you're building in winter, you're not going to have issues of being slowed down by the weather.
What about interest rates and the high cost of building supplies? Does it mean that, especially now in 2025, would it have been cheaper or a bit more profitable to flip a couple of years ago as opposed to now when we are seeing the rises in interest rates?
Well, I don't think the interest rates have a direct impact, because remember, we're dealing with cash. Maybe inflation is an issue, because the cost of these construction materials has increased to what it was 2 years ago. Whoever flipped a house 2 years ago and the same house you try to flip it now, you're obviously going to pay more because the cost of those materials has gone up. It's inflation based, right? But from an interest rate point of view, there's not really much of a direct impact, because remember, I spoke about having cash as part of your plan to flip.
Who should go into this investment portfolio, TT? Is it? You mentioned earlier it may not be for everyone. Who would it be ideally for?
In my opinion, it's ideally for everybody, because if you think about it, this is where the concept of stokvels can come into play. If you can imagine, if there can be 10 of us contributing 100,000 rands, we've got R1 million, and we identify a property maybe in a township that's worth 300,000 rands, then we also identify the opportunity to flip it for another 300,000 rands. We've already spent 600,000 rands. We've got 400,000 rands in the kitty for in case of emergencies. Now, imagine this. If you've got 100,000 rands, you can't really do much. But the power of the collective can help you to flip. You then flip that house, and then maybe you sell it for 900,000 rands. You've made 300,000 rands profit. You've already got 400,000 in the kitty. You keep it moving, and you flip another one. You keep it moving, and that's how you can grow. That's why I'm saying it's for everyone. It's just that people think it's intimidating. It's actually not.
Let's talk about the work that you are doing as Black Real Estate, especially when we need this kind of advice and we need wise counsel when we are approaching such projects. Let's talk about the work that you are doing and the offering that you have.
So at the moment, we've just finalized season 4 of the Mzansi Cribs makeover TV show, which is actually flipping people's homes and increasing their values. The only difference here is that they don't get to pay for it. We do it for them on their behalf. But the beauty about that is that we end up increasing the value of their homes, because imagine someone coming into your home and renovating your entire kitchen and lounge to the value of 150,000 rands. Obviously, that increases the value of your home when you are ready to sell it, because obviously we're coming in with materials that are more price sensitive than what you would have had. So that's what we are busy with. We are also obviously embarking on educational workshops where we teach people about getting into the property space, because we want this to be an all-inclusive process. A lot of us Black people never got the opportunity to understand the space because of our unfortunate history. But now is the time for us to educate each other and show that this space is actually not as difficult as most people make it out to be. But I think the power of the collective is what we need to promote, because not everyone has got 2 million rands readily available. We have to go make a loan. So if you've got 10,000 rands and you club in with 20 other people, the sum of that is actually more in a collective. Then you own 10% of something than 100% of nothing.
Oh, I love that. TT, thank you so much for your time and for your wise counsel there. I'm hoping that those who are listening in and they would like to flip property, that they took those pieces of advice very seriously. The time, the location, very important. The time of the year when you start building, and also making sure that you consult reputable agencies like yourselves to ensure that you become successful. But thank you so much for your time. Where can we find you on the socials?
So I'm on all the social media handles. It's TTMBHA on Twitter, on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm out there.
There we go. TT, thank you so much for your time. The voice there of Tato, aka TT Mba, CEO of Black Real Estate, just unpacking the realities of flipping a house. Is it for you? Is it not? What do you think after that conversation? It is now 30 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest news with a man who's multifaceted. I realize that Uchanduku is multifaceted. He does news, he does sports, business. He's going to do your sports news now. Coming up next.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good afternoon. Well, let's start with football news. As Ghana prepares for the 2025 edition of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON in Morocco, all eyes are on Kim Lars Bjorkgren, with the Swedish tactician leading the Black Queens into the continental showpiece. Appointed in early 2025, he brings with him nearly 2 decades of experience across Sweden, China, and the US. The Black Queens, one of Africa's most respected women's football teams, have never won the WAFCON title despite their pedigree. Their best finish came in 1998, 2002, and 2006 on runner-up positions. Former Banyana defender Nokumatlo has advised Banyana to be unified or united if they want to make it far in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco starting in July. Banyana go into the competition as defending champions after clinching the title in 2022. The former Banyana international says that the team must remain united and work together, and only if they do that will they successfully defend their WAFCON crown. Banyana are in Group C with Ghana, Tanzania, and Mali. Their opening match will be against Ghana, a team that missed out on the 2022 WAFCON, and Matlo acknowledges that it will not be an easy game.
To play in Ghana, it's not easy. It's going to be tough. But I think if the team, they can work together, they can pull each other and work as a team. I think we can do well against Ghana. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be walk in the park. In the park, they need to work even harder to win the first game, because it's very important to win first game.
South Africa's football club, Orlando Pirates, who finished second in the Betway Premiership and reached the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League last season, have finally appointed a new coach. Moroccan Abdeslam Odo, who coached Maruma Gallants last season, will take over from Jose Ribeiro, who had a very successful stint with Bucks. The appointment of the 46-year-old former Moroccan professional footballer may come as a surprise. But Odo is a UEFA Pro license holder, and during his brief tenure at Gallants, he coached the team to 5 wins, 4 draws and just 3 defeats in 12 matches. One of those victories was a 2-0 win against the Buccaneers at the Free State Stadium in March. In tennis news, Marketa Vondrousova claimed her first title since winning Wimbledon 2 years ago after she beat Chinese qualifier Wang Xinyu in the Berlin Open final. The 25-year-old Czech has struggled with injury over the last year, but put that behind her to win 7-6, 4-6, 6-2. She saved 6 set points in a tight first set tiebreak, but came through that to take the opener. The 23-year-old Wang had seen all 4 top 20 players to reach her first ever tour final, and she showed great resolve to get a break in the second set and level. And LK Gundogan scored two goals as Manchester City comfortably dispatched Emirati club Al Ain 6-0 yesterday to ease into the knockout stage of the club world from Group G along with Juventus. The German midfielder found the net in the 9th and 73rd minutes, while Argentine teenager Claudio Echeverri also fired home a free kick and Erling Haaland a penalty before the break. Substitutes Oscar Bob and new signing Ryan Cherki sealed the empathetic victory in the last 10 minutes to draw City level on goal difference with Juventus, who beat Wydad Casablanca 4-1 earlier yesterday. That is all for now. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email, newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sports, I am Chandruko Ligege.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
O surto da cólera em Angola tem causado grande preocupação, afetando já mais de metade das províncias do país. Simultaneamente, a Agência dos Estados Unidos para o Desenvolvimento Internacional, USAID, um dos maiores doadores mundiais de assistência humanitária, decidiu não priorizar os países com maior incidência de malária. Para discutirmos as causas do alastramento da cólera em Angola e os impactos dessa decisão da USAID, convidamos o Dr. Jeremias Agostinho, médico e mestre em saúde pública, para partilhar a sua visão sobre o tema.
A doença, nesse momento, representa o maior risco de saúde pública que nós temos. Nos últimos anos, a nossa preocupação esteve sempre centrada com os casos de malária, os casos de tuberculose e também de infecção por VIH-Sida. A forma como, em pouco menos de 2 meses, os casos de cólera vêm aumentando, acaba por representar, nessa altura, um dos maiores desafios que o país tem. É expectável que, nesta fase, o número de casos venha a aumentar.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África.
36 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's hand over the mic now to Buntle Headbush, who has your business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In our top business story at this hour, South Africa has signed a $1.5 billion loan agreement with the World Bank, aiming to overhaul its transport and energy infrastructure and reignite the country's economic growth. South Africa's National Treasury says the development policy loan aims to unblock key infrastructure bottlenecks which have severely hindered the country's economic growth. The financing should also limit rising debt service costs as it carries more favorable terms than commercial borrowing. South African Cooperative Governance Minister Velengosini Hlabisa has highlighted the lack of revenue base for collection as one of the factors contributing to poor performance of some of the country's municipalities. This follows a report by the Auditor General which revealed that only 41 of the country's 257 municipalities achieved clean audits for the 2024-2025 financial year. Hlabisa says the well-performing municipalities are overshadowed by the majority of struggling municipalities. He was speaking at a high-level dialogue in Midrand, Johannesburg, where political parties have convened as part of the ongoing review of the 1998 White Paper on Local Government.
A number of municipalities constantly fail to spend MIG and other grants allocation. Some of our municipalities are not viable as they have no revenue base for collection. As a result, they are classified as distressed and some of them are literally bankrupt. Sometimes they are unable to pay salaries.
Meanwhile, discussions are underway as to whether there is a need to establish a government employment agency to professionalize the work of South Africa's municipalities. This is just one of the many issues that are being tackled at the dialogue convened by Cooperative Governance Minister Velengosini Hlabisa. Dixon Masimula is the Deputy Minister for COGTA.
We've been seized with trying to make sure that the people that run government have a better appreciation of how things are going. And they can link the debits and credits, performance report, the compliance issues to service delivery things that are important to you, especially as political parties. We have worked extremely hard to create that link so that we can no longer have anybody credibly tell us that, well, you know, it's okay to have a disclaimer because our people don't eat clean audits. People used to say that. I don't hear it anymore. And it tells me that we are winning.
Oil prices have stabilized this afternoon after prices initially spiked at the opening this morning. Prices touched 5-month highs before turning negative and then recovering again. Analysts say oil prices will remain on edge as markets continue to closely watch for Iran's next move and possible escalation. U.S. airstrikes on Iran have sharply raised fears of retaliation that could target key oil infrastructure and shipping lanes. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil transit point, is at the center of concerns over potential supply disruptions. Oil is currently at $77.79 a barrel this afternoon. The European Union's Commissioner for Industrial Strategy, Stéphane Séjourné, says European Union countries should create joint reserves of rare earth minerals to prevent supply chain disruptions and economic blackmail from China. Séjourné says all European countries today have strategic reserves for oil and gas and should do the same for strategic raw materials. He said he would launch further tenders this year to promote alternative raw material sources. The EU announced last month 30 new raw material projects outside the bloc to increase its supply of metals and minerals essential to its competitiveness in the energy transition, as well as defense and aerospace. Now taking a look at our indicators this afternoon, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 54. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 33. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 56. And in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 9. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 51. Russia, 78 rubles 39. In India, it's 86 rupees 49. China, 7 yuan 18. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 99 cents this afternoon. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,366 and platinum at $1,288 per ounce, while Brent crude oil, as mentioned earlier, is at $77.79 a barrel. And those are your business news at this hour. I'll be back with more in the next hour. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Headbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Zochitika ndimodapiri kamlondola wazochitika pena paliponse.
Nduna wazamalonda kumalawi waletsa kampani yopanga shuga ya Irovo yomwe ndi nthambi ya Irovo Sugar Group Limited kuti isiye kutumiza shuga kumaiko akunja. Malingana ndi nduna yazamalonda Vitumbuko Mumba, izi zithandiza kuti shuga yemwe yakusowa pamsika azipezeka. Ndiye pano ndili ndi George Muhangu amene ali mu mzinda wa Blantyre mu dziko la Malawi. Chimene chikupangitsa kuti shuga azisowa ndi chani?
Chomwe chikupangitsa kuti shuga azisowa ndichonena kuti panopo ili ngati off season ya makampani a Irovo Sugar Malawi, kunena kuti sakutha kupanga shugayi okwanira chifukwa akukolola. Ndiye akamaliza kukolola pameneno atayambeno somano kugaya shugayi kuti azipezeka. Chinanso ndichonena kuti ma distributors amene akumakagula shuga kaya ndi ku Irovo kaya ndi kusalima shuga akumagulisa kumaiko akunja ngati Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Mozambique.
Zochitika ndimodapiri lolemba mpaka lachisanu pa nthawi ya 7 koloko kufikira 8 koloko madzulo pa Channel Africa.
They talk about what Africans say about Africa. Africa is a story, and Nompumelelo Ngubeni, Tame Ngubeni talks money. Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Muteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things
In
that
time, Soweto there by Victony, Rema, Tempo, featuring Don Toliver. What a banger of a song there. Welcome to the Upside. If you just joined us in our second hour with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni. We're on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Stream us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. It's now time for What Caught Your Eye? And for this, I'm joined by the phenomenal Ms. Nombuyiselo Tango. How are you doing?
I'm good, and yourself?
Fantastic. How was the weekend?
The weekend was nothing short of relaxation. That's all I did.
So you did nothing this weekend?
Absolutely nothing.
And you're proud of yourself?
Extremely. I work way too hard for me to also work on weekends.
You know, there's conversations that go around asking people, what do you do during your off time? There are people who, like you, they sleep. And then there are others who hustle during that off time because there's no time for resting. Rest is for people who have money.
There's always a season for resting and hustling. And
okay.
This is my season.
This is your resting season.
Because we've been, guys. We are not like you guys who go on holidays, public holidays.
No, we have no public holidays.
No, we are radio and we work all the time. Radio is always on 24/7, 365 days of the year. So the little...
You must use it. So someone else may say, oh yeah, but you're on radio. That means that at any given day you can decide, I don't want to go in today. I don't want to go in tomorrow.
And then I won't have food on my plate, eh? No.
All right. What caught your eye?
I'm sure a lot of people have seen the story or at least have seen videos because it has been circulating on social media platforms.
Okay.
There was a protest last week in Kenya, Nairobi, where the protest, the reason for the protest is police brutality, right?
Okay.
And this is after a year of, this started actually prior. It started and it dipped down and now it's back up. Prior, about a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah, about a year ago, there was a Gen Z protest, right? Where Gen Z were coming in. I'm sure you've all seen it, and we were saying yes. Yeah. Yes, Gen Z, it's not about just hashtag, but actually being out there and protesting and standing, and showing up.
Yeah.
So during this protest, it started off very quiet, very subtle, right? And it soon grew into what it is now. And apparently, supposedly, allegedly, they were a group of people who are known in Kenya as the goons, who came through with their makeshift weapons. And this is how it escalated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is how it escalated. And the police were trying to protect, so they say they were trying to protect the stores that were there because it is in the CBD. However, there was a man who was shot very close range to the head. And this particular man was not even part of the protesters. He was actually selling face masks on the side. And he was shot. And this is the video that has been circulating.
Shot, dead?
No, he's alive.
Okay.
He is recovering.
Okay. But shot in the head?
Shot in the head.
At
point
close
blank.
range?
Point blank to the head.
Unarmed man, not causing any ruckus, not even part of the protest.
Holding what he was selling. So it was very clear that this person is actually selling, because they were holding what he was holding what he was selling.
There's a video. So statement from the police is what? There's nothing that has been confirmed, nothing that they've been...
This is what the next few days we are trying to see what will happen. Are we going to see the government take responsibility of their employees, public servants who are the policemen, and take accountability and take a stance, because the youth as well as those protesters have taken a stance. And it's one of those that the reason why we are protesting is because of such, and during that protest you further show us that this is exactly why we need more people to stand up against police brutality.
Well, we hope that the government will hold its employees accountable, those in the police force. Because I know that in any country, the citizens always outnumber the police, right? And last time we had a conversation with a police officer talking about how they don't get support from communities. They often feel their lives are threatened. But in a situation like this, where this person is not doing anything, is not threatening anyone, he has no weapon on him, there was absolutely no reason to go to that extremity of getting a gun out, point blank, shooting him. I would love to hear what the response is going to be from the commissioners and how they're going to then deal with that said police officer as to why he shot this individual and what are the repercussions for that.
But
they need to be held accountable.
This is a trend that we're seeing throughout. It's not just in Africa or not just in the US. Just a few weeks ago, we saw that a reporter was shot while reporting at a protest. So where do we then say, maybe we don't know the rules? Maybe are we supposed to just run away the moment we see policemen? And so this is our right, free speech. As long as we don't affect business, and if we are protesting just for protesters, they were just for their protest. And we're seeing such happening in broad daylight. When do we say this is the end? We should stop. When do we call it this? Like, this is enough at this point. How many more are we supposed to see fall in the name of protesting, in the name of their right to protest?
What do you think? On TikTok, let us know at Channel Africa 1 about this story from Kenya. What caught my eye was the announcement this morning, not too long ago, by Orlando Pirates Football Club. Announcing their new head coach.
Mapagabaga, where are you? Stand up in the background.
I don't know if Mapagabaga are happy about the appointment of former Moroccan international Abdeslam Ouado. The reason why I say I don't know if they are excited is because he doesn't have a lot of experience under his belt. Yes, he's a registered coach, and for some time he was coaching. Who did he end up coaching?
What do you mean he doesn't have enough experience?
You know, for a club like Orlando Pirates, after the big shoes of Jose Riviero, or his Riviero's tenancy or period when he was coaching, he was a big name, big shoes to fill. You don't just replace a Jose with someone that has only had about 12 games for Marumo Gallants or Galants. And this is one of the biggest clubs in Africa. So I don't know. Some people are saying it's a shock announcement that he was chosen, especially when the name of Rulani Mokoena was also thrown in the mix there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were hoping that Rulani was going to be the coach of Orlando Pirates, and that was yes, we're excited. So when they announced that Abdeslam was going to then be the coach, not a lot of people were celebrating with excitement.
Because they
rather
had
shocked.
someone in mind.
They had someone in mind, rather shocked, but some have a bit of optimism. So let me share a few of his, shall we say, credentials.
Yeah.
Right. He previously coached Algeria. Yeah, but okay, another day. Algeria, and then in South Africa, it's the Marumo Galants in the South African Premiership. Those are the two main credentials.
But
so you want someone with a longer resume who's seen.
What if he has actual plans, strategies on how you Buccaneers could actually win? How you guys could win. For real though, how you guys can claim your star again. Don't you miss your star?
Wow.
This would be the opportunity. For real. For so many years, Pirates has not won that star, right?
Yeah.
What if he's that right person to bring back that star?
Well, fair enough.
Let us see him.
You don't just rule out someone, right? Fair enough. But again, it brings into question, we had Jose Riviero before, and now we're having someone who's not South African coaching a big South African
So is the
club.
problem that it's someone not from South Africa?
For some people that is a problem. That okay, why are you overlooking a South African Rulani Mokoena from South Africa and then having someone who's not from South Africa coach? And it's been a trend around the soccer league in South Africa, where more and more people are asking for local coaches to be put up onto those levels and coach these big teams, and not that they need to look outside and bring someone from international, but within the local coaching sphere. We have more than enough talent. We have more than enough competency to have people lead these big, giant football clubs. And so that could be a factor that is not South African, and the fact that it doesn't have a massive or long resume to reflect on in terms of competency, and him being a coach that could take Orlando Pirates to the next level and bring them the silverware.
At this point, I feel like there's no one that would satisfy Pirates supporters. Hear me out.
Okay.
Let me land.
All right. Go for it.
Maybe if you guys are listening and watching, maybe they should consider having a vote off. Right?
Okay.
Have the top 10 or whatever and let them, the supporters, select who they want, because each and every time they change a coach, there's always some talks of some people are against this one because in the previous league this person didn't even make their team win, they didn't even have enough scores, this person didn't even change the tactics, etc. So maybe, just maybe, consider maybe having your top 10, your supporters will select the top 3. From the top 3, then you guys will select your ultimate coach.
Management. I tell you what, it would speak to the conversation that a lot of people, especially sports fans, are saying about their respective clubs. How the clubs hardly listen to what the people want. We are the fans, we are the supporters. We want this, we want that, and you're consistently week in, week out doing opposite to what we are asking for. I don't know if a team could thrive, and maybe that is a new team that we are a new era we're going to step in, where the vote of the fans actually counts and matters. I wonder what that would do for the team in terms of getting them silverware, in terms of their football elevating to another level, because a lot of the time you have the fans saying, Maybe management doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah. So let's see if
but
you
do the
guys
fans
really
know better
know.
though,
Exactly.
really?
Also, this would also make it a whole conversation. We know how many people are going to constantly argue and debate over which one would be in that position, first of all. Secondly,
Absolutely.
it will obviously make sure or keep the conversation in terms of brand awareness to Orlando Pirates constantly. If people are constantly chiming in and voting in for who they want, and during that season you will see if that's really the right person for you. So guys, just consider. I'm just saying.
We're throwing it out there. Nombuyisela has thrown it out
Yeah,
there.
give me the royalties.
To all the big sport giants or soccer giants in South Africa, let your fans choose the coach. Let your fans choose the players and the positions for the whole season, not just for one game, because they do have that Carling Black Label.
No.
For the whole season.
For the whole season, select a coach and let us see if it works.
What do you think of that? Let us know. +27634069126. 4069126. It's 3 p.m. Central African time. We're about to enter the final hour of the upside. For now, though, let's get the latest news with Onele Nsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Looking at your top stories, the DRC signs a new accord with neighboring Uganda, and Iranian capital hit by an intense new wave of Israeli strikes. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. The army in the Democratic Republic of Congo says it has signed a new accord with neighboring Uganda aimed at boosting a joint military campaign against the rebel group, the Allied Democratic Forces. Over the last 3 decades, the deployment of Ugandan troops has often been controversial. Officials in Kampala says the focus has always been on defeating the rebels. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has partnered with Spain alongside the European Union and Germany for economic development and regional integration initiatives in West Africa as it deepens efforts to ensure adequate security and good governance. The agreement was signed in Abuja ahead of the 67th summit of the Authority of Heads of State. The German envoy Dorothy Wenzel says her country has been of tremendous support to ECOWAS over the years and will continue to give necessary assistance and that would promote regional stability and good governance.
Germany has continuously supported ECOWAS and its member states in this process, and we believe that regional integration promotes economic development, political stability, inclusive societies, and environmental protection, amongst other things. Hence, we are honored to support ECOWAS Vision 2050 on building a citizen-centered community for peace and prosperity.
The Eastern Cape government in South Africa says the death toll from the recent floods in Umtata has now risen to 95. This includes 2 teenage males whose bodies were recovered yesterday. Provincial government spokesperson Kuselwa Khankis says 86 of the victims have been identified and collected by their families, and efforts are continuing to identify the remaining bodies. Khankis says assistance has already been provided for 26 burials since last Thursday. The acting Premier Mlungisi Mvoko has thanked communities and NGOs for their support, saying the government remains committed to helping survivors rebuild their lives. South Africa's Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen says people who do not comply with regulations put in place to assist in curbing the spread of foot and mouth disease will face criminal charges. The regulations cover, amongst others, the movement of livestock from disease management areas and the operation of auctions. Outbreaks of the disease have been reported in 5 provinces. The first batch of vaccines arrived in the country last week. Steenhuisen was speaking during his oversight visit in Curran Beef Feedlock in Heidelberg in the Gauteng province.
If you have people who move animals outside the disease management area or break those protocols, we're going to see breakouts in other parts of the country as well. And that's what we really want to avoid. That's why we declare a disease management area to try and contain the virus. The virus can only move out of the disease management area if people break the regulation relating to the movement or potential spreader events. So it's going to depend entirely on the cooperation.
Lastly, the Iranian capital has been hit by an intense new wave of Israeli strikes. The targets included a paramilitary headquarters, a prison, and a university in Tehran. Israel's military says it believes many Iranian soldiers have been killed. Video footage shows plumes of smoke rising above the Iranian capital. The BBC's Bergan Tajin explains.
Videos verified by BBC Persian show smoke rising from several places in Tehran after being hit by Israel. Targets include Evin Prison and the nearby Shahid Beheshti University in northern Tehran. Large parts of the city have lost power after an electricity network facility was hit. Israel has also targeted military facilities in Tehran and elsewhere since Sunday night.
Recapping on your top stories, the Army of the Democratic Republic of Congo says it has signed a new accord with neighboring Uganda aimed at boosting a joint military campaign against a rebel group, the Allied Democratic Forces. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
It is 6 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to the final hour of The Upside on Channel Africa with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African Time. We're broadcasting live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. And you can stream us live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and at Channel Africa on YouTube. Let us know how your day is going so far. Are you having a productive one? +27 63406 9126. Well, in this hour, we get into conversation with a phenomenal woman by the name of Thandi Orlane. And she's in the, shall we say, the legal space. Advocate, lawyer, someone who you can really look up to. And if you want to get into that space yourself, into the legal firms, and want to understand how they work, what challenges you may experience, especially as a woman, this conversation is going to be an empowering one just for you. She's led so many, not just industries, businesses. She's led from the front, leading by example. We'll be profiling her. And if you have any questions, you've heard her name before, and you'd like to know how she has conquered through the years, through the challenges, and just want to pick her brain in terms of how to create a career that is long-lasting. +27 63 406 9126 is the WhatsApp line. A quick question. No, it's not even a question. I saw something here that was rather I don't know how to put it. I was disheartened by it initially, and I realized that our superstitions sometimes get the better of us. All right. Bold men in Mozambique are facing some brutal attacks fueled by superstitions that claim that boldness, if you're bold, you have gold in your head. I don't know if you've heard this myth before, but it's now become an actual problem where people are being targeted because they have bold heads. And for a lot of us, or for a lot of people, Chiscop, bald head, it looks good, it looks clean. But now there are superstitions that you are carrying gold. Have you heard about this superstition? What do you think of it? Have you heard other superstitions about bold people that you can share with us on air? +2763 406 9126. It's the final hour of The Upside. It's 9 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine.
I want the Africa that makes every single African proud of the continent and have hope. And there's so much stuff that's going on that's positive. And if we can just lock into that, Namaganjan, everyone is going to get there.
Where are we going? Where are we trying to get to?
The idea of working together, which is why I'm excited about this new voice.
And the new voice is me, Asanda Peta, broadcast journalist with about 15 years of experience on the radio space.
Welcome, Asanda. I've been waiting for you for a long time.
Were you waiting for me?
I was.
Really?
Yeah, because for 3 months I was on my own.
So be sure to tune in right here on Channel Africa Mondays to Fridays from 6 to 9 a.m. Central African Time.
If you want to know about your continent, this is the best place to start your day.
Rise and Shine on Channel Africa.
June is Youth Month in South Africa. Celebrate Africa's young voices with us. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
And you know I'm dealing with my friends, I'm dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make you come fresh, we gotta make you come fresh. Make we no throw it, oh make we no forget, yeah make your day, swing your love my way, baby not today. You want to fight or you want to stay? Do me wrong and I take all the blame. Do me something I'll make I go crazy. Say you want and you need. When you call all the bees, oh make me take on the easy. Teach your love to the greedy, yeah. Every time you dey tease me, say you better for leave me, oh make we not turn small thing into bigger something, yeah. Dealing with my stress, dealing with your stress, and you know I'm dealing with my friends, I'm dealing with your friends, and you know it. We're gonna get mad sex, we're gonna get mad sex, and you know we gotta make you come fresh, we gotta make you come fresh, then you know, like I know, that you know, that I know,
Africa Smile. 12 till 1. Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside. 1 till 4. Live and real. with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni.
Tame Ngubeni talks money. Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m.
5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color.
Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba.
We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m.
Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9.
We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour.
It's 13 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Mad by SARS and World. It is the final hour of The Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective with me, Tebogo Lekhuleni. Let's get into a conversation now with a phenomenal woman. Every now and then, a story comes along that reminds us what true leadership looks like. Leadership rooted in courage, justice, and an unwavering commitment to transformation. Today, we shine the light and the spotlight on one of South Africa's most respected legal minds and corporate leaders, Mamthandi Orlane. From the classrooms of Charles Duna and St. Matthews to the courtrooms of the High Court and the boardrooms of some of the country's biggest companies, her journey is nothing short of inspiring. She's shaped labor relations as head of CCMA, guided corporate giants like De Beers and BP Southern Africa, and built platforms that empower women and drive sustainable investment. More than titles, her legacy is one of amplifying voices and building bridges across our evolving democracy. And today, we are honored to have her share her remarkable journey with us. Mamthandi, thank you so much for your time and welcome to The Upside.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about this journey, remarkable journey. And I want us to go back to Charles Duna and St. Matthews. During that time, what was it that you were experiencing that shaped your passion for justice and public service?
I must be honest with you, and good afternoon to our viewers. And sharing with them my history has taken me back a long time. Charles Duna, I was a very young, impressionable girl.
Yeah.
At the time, I thought teaching was the best profession in the world. So shaping justice was not in my mind. But I think as I moved, as you say, to St. Matthews in Kiskama, what is known in isiXhosa as uqoboqobo, I started to realize the environment around me. I realized the impact of apartheid. As you can imagine, in the 1970s, apartheid machinery was starting to take effect with all the laws that were started in the early 50s post the 1948 win of the national government starting to unfold.
During that time, you were seeing all sorts of injustices, and maybe at the time you're still finding yourself, you're not quite aware of what's happening around you. Were there moments that perhaps you experienced yourself in seeing the injustices around you, in how your fellow classmates, how your parents, how everyone around you in the community was being treated, that sparked or ignited a flame in you that said, you know what, I want to serve people when I grow up?
By the time I became aware of what was happening, I was in boarding school at St. Matthews. And the first thing that was a huge impression on me was that when I first arrived, we were fully under the Anglican Church, being taught by English-speaking teachers. The bishop was the head, titular head of the college. And the next thing, the following year, it's changed to an Afrikaner principal, an Afrikaner deputy principal, and it became very clear that things have changed. It was like overnight. So that was my first impression. Following on that, understanding as you drove with your parents from like Port Elizabeth to Ekhini, and you couldn't stop and have a drink anywhere or take anything. You had to stop under the trees, for your stop. So those are the kind of impressions as you are a young person, really starting to understand. But then came in 1976, 1977. By that time, I'm at university, so I'm jumping. But that was the real impact in your face of apartheid for me.
It's 19 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. We're currently in conversation with renowned lawyer, businesswoman, Tandi Lekhuleni, about her legal career, the journey, and also some words of inspiration to the youth of South Africa in the year 2025. We'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we continue the conversation.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. If it's news and current affairs, leading opinions, and thought leaders that get your groove, this is your home, The Upside.
Well, we're currently in conversation with Tandi Lekhuleni, a South African lawyer and businesswoman, and to talk to us about her career and just impart some words of wisdom, especially to the youth of 2025. Tandi, you then studied law, but not just one degree was enough for you. You had multiple law degrees. What was the inspiration behind that?
And this was a journey, really. The journey was starting with a BA degree, intending to move on to an LLB degree. Remember those days you had to pass Latin 1, you also had to do Afrikaans, other than English, and some of the subjects I had navigated, I had done them in Afrikaans. So this was not a straight journey. And having done that, I decided, the laws were changing. You needed to either have a BProc or an LLB. And because I got expelled from university, I had to detour. Having received the BUris degree, I now had to move on and do a BProc so that I could be admitted as an attorney. So that was the first part. And I still wanted to do my LLB. So I did. I did my LLB after I had had a couple of my children. And then after that, as an adult, I did my LLM. So I want to say in this part of education, the youth must make sure that they look at their plans, and they must make sure that the journey is not just getting a degree and moving on. There's just so much you can do to make sure you enhance your own experiences.
Tandi, some people may not realize or may not know that your legal career, it really started during apartheid. Talk to us about some of the challenges that you experienced in trying to advocate for the less fortunate and being a voice to those who didn't have a voice during a time when the regime was very much opposing what you're trying to do.
As a product of my time, I was an activist, so I did end up being expelled at universities, firstly. Yeah. And secondly, I then ensured that I want to continue my activism, having decided I'm going to be a human rights lawyer. After my articles with Gondile and Somyalo, top Black lawyers in South Africa who ended their careers as judges, I then moved on to the Legal Resources Center. This is 1985. The National Union of Mine Workers is really shaking the economy and the industry. And the Marievale gold mine case is on the go. And that's how and when I joined the Legal Resources Center. So I feel that at that time I was able to really be exposed to the real issues around the law and be able to contribute in terms of my engagement for the 10 years I was at the Legal Resources Center.
And you continued the work and advocating and fighting for the rights of human beings, particularly black people. During your tenure as National Director at the CCMA, talk to us about some of the roles that you occupied, not just as the National Director, but as a leader in shaping this vital labor dispute body, which was the CCMA.
I remember the Act came into effect in 1995, late 95. And thereafter, the implementation came in and the effect in 1996 when the doors were opened. So I took over as the what I would call the CO or National Director. In terms of the Act, is defined as the director. And when I took over, it was very young. It was, we had very inexperienced commissioners. So both in my leadership and I found that I had to be involved in some of the mediations. And we did major mediations. You'll recall the 6-week strike between NUMSA and the motor industry. You remember the strikes of the Chamber of Mines and the NUM, both under former President Kgalema Motlanthe, Gwede Mantashe, the Minister of Minerals and Petroleum Resources. And I was participating in those disputes as a mediator, besides running the organization and make sure that we impart all the experiences that we could have to the young commissioners we had brought in. And what I would also like to mention at this point is that the majority of our commissioners were black from the beginning. We had majority black commissioners. And so when people say people have got no experience, sometimes the circumstances are such that you have to make sure that you get people who are committed, who are passionate, and then experience is going to come in as they learn.
Mamthandi, in light of what we see as leadership in this day and age, a lot of, especially the young people, will question what true leadership actually looks like, and what can we model ourselves towards going into the future. To you, what does it mean to be a leader? What does true leadership look like?
When you are a leader, I mean, there's a lot of leadership examples out there. They talk about servant leadership, they talk about a democratic leader, or they talk about an autocratic leader. For me, the main thing is a leader must be visionary. You must look at what is the end game. What are you looking to do, basically? And you can ask today of whether it's an elderly person or a young person, because leadership is not defined by age. It's more around what can you lead people to and make sure that the results can be seen, can be palpable. So for us as South Africans, we have to make sure that we lead from the front ourselves. Doesn't matter your age. And it doesn't matter the area of leadership. You don't have to be in the papers to be a leader. You can be a community leader. You can be a church leader. You can be a sports leader in rugby, in cricket. We can see with people like Sia. You can see with people like Bavuma, their leadership, you can see it. And I'm talking just sport, which is one of my passions.
And how important then is representation at those levels in seeing this leadership play out and being a model example? How important is it to have representation at the highest level to drive real change and lasting change in South Africa?
Young people are impressionable. They respond to people like them. Like you're sitting here on that chair. You are impressing a lot of young people who will aspire to that. And so it's the same in every sphere. You need all races, all genders, all people of different persuasions, and to make sure that you have young people who say, if she can do it, I can do it.
Thandi, I would love to continue the conversation if you would allow us just after the sports and business news, because I would love to pick your brain, especially when it comes to women trying to not mark their territory, but get a foot into corporate spaces, in the business world, still faced with so many challenges. And as someone who has overcome a lot of those challenges, we'd love to pick your brain, especially during this Youth Month. So if you don't mind hanging on the line for us for a couple of minutes, we'll continue the conversation. We are currently in conversation with a phenomenal woman by the name of Mam Thandi Orlane. She's an advocate and a businesswoman, and with a wealth of experience when it comes to corporate affairs, the legal side of any career. In actual fact, I think she's delved into every single one of them. But I want to touch on women in South Africa and how they can advance their careers, and what are the challenges that they need to look out for and how to overcome those during this Youth Month. It's now 30 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African Time. Tebogo Lekhuleni has your sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. This is your sports update. As Ghana prepares for the 2025 edition of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON in Morocco, all eyes are on Kim Lars Bjorkegård, the Swedish tactician leading the Black Queens into the continental showpiece. Appointed in early 2025, he brings with him nearly 2 decades of experience across Sweden, China, and the US. The Black Queens, one of Africa's most respected women's football teams, have never won the WAFCON title despite their pedigree. Their best finish came in 1998, 2002, and 2006, all runners-up positions. In netball news, Spa Proteas head coach Jenny van Dijk says she supports World Netball's new event strategic plan. This comes after the world governing body announced that the World Cup will be held every 2 years and that they will also be launching the Men's Netball World Cup. Speaking to SABC Sport, van Dijk says this is a step closer to netball becoming an official Olympic sport.
Firstly, I think it's a great decision by World Netball to include the males and introduce them into the World Cup. I think that's a step in the right direction. Yes, definitely for a consideration in the Olympic Games as well, because that will make us a well-represented sport. And just because I think, the males deserve to have a World Cup to look forward to work towards.
South African football side Mamelodi Sundowns utility player Thapelo Morena was upbeat heading into the final Group F clash against Brazil's Fluminense at the FIFA Club World Cup on Wednesday, following the impressive performance against Borussia Dortmund. The Betway Premiership champions are one of the most talked about teams at the tournament, following their display in a pulsating 4-3 defeat to the German Giants at the TQL Stadium on Saturday. But Downs now need to beat Fluminense if they are to progress into the knockout stages, something Morena believes they can pull off if they iron out their errors.
I think we're gonna give our all like we gave today, and try and convert the chances that we create. I think some of us players, we watch the games, and to be honest, we go each game as it comes, and now the focus is changing to them because the focus was on Dortmund. So from today onwards, we just review our game and fix what we have to fix for the next game.
In rugby news, the two-time defending Rugby World Cup champion South Africa will continue to evolve as an attacking and defensive unit as the coaching team hopes to see the improvements in the upcoming matches against the Barbarians, Italy and Georgia. The Springboks had an exceptional season last year, winning 11 of 13 test matches they played. Adding to that, they scored the third most number of tries in a season since 1992, 57 in total. Former All Blacks fly half Tony Bone, who oversees the Springboks attack, believes another exciting season lies ahead because the players have a better understanding of what the coaches expect of them. The Springboks start their season with an unofficial match against the Barbars in Cape Town on Saturday.
It's obviously a very special team. Great experience for me last year. And this year I feel as though, after 2 weeks of training, I feel as though we're further ahead than we were last year around how we're trying to play the game and on both attack, defence. I think the players understand how we coach and what's required of them a lot better than this time last year. So I'm excited to get started. I think we're in a better place, and obviously the games and the results will see where we're at.
And finally, in tennis news, Marketa Vodosova claimed her first title since winning Wimbledon 2 years ago after she beat Chinese qualifier Wang Xinyu in the Berlin Open final. The 25-year-old Czech has struggled with injury over the last year, but put that behind her to win 7-6, 4-6, 6-2. She saved success points in a tight first set tiebreak, but came through that to take the opener. 23-year-old Wang had seen off 4 top 20 players to reach her first ever tour final, and she showed great resolve to get a break in the second set and level. That is all for now. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sports, I am Chanduko Ligenge.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
You watch cricket. 35 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. It's now time to hand over to Buntle Headbush for the final business news on the upside.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo. Good afternoon. Malian tax officials have reopened Barrick Mining's office in the capital, Bamako, under a new interim administration. This comes after Barrick's Lulu Kunkoto gold complex was shut in mid-April over alleged non-payment of taxes in a dispute over mining revenues. The Malian government, a shareholder in the mining complex, had signalled its desire to reopen the complex amid record-high global gold prices. Sources say that if reopened, the mine could bring in revenue worth at least $1 billion over the next year. South Africa has signed a $1.5 billion loan agreement with the World Bank, aiming to overhaul its transport and energy infrastructure and reignite the country's economic growth. South Africa's National Treasury says the development policy loan aims to unblock key infrastructure bottlenecks which have severely hindered the country's economic growth. The financing should also limit rising debt service costs as it carries more favorable terms than commercial borrowing. Finance and Economic Development MEC of the Gauteng province in South Africa, Lebogang Maile, together with professional consultant firm EY, has released the first ever provincial municipal economic review and outlook. The report is a tool aimed at assisting municipalities to better allocate budgets and prioritize economic development based on reliable data. Speaking at the launch at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, Maile says the report provides detailed analysis on the state of the economy at a municipal level.
Because that's where a lot of things take place. That's where investors want to be located. That's where service delivery is administered. That's the first point of contact between the citizens and government. So it's important that it was important that we go into every municipality and look at the different economic activities.
Meanwhile, South Africa's Auditor General, Tsakani Maluleke, says the original white paper on local government called for all spheres of government to be interdependent. She says this will enable them to effectively govern while promoting financial growth and public participation. She made the remarks during a high-level dialogue to review the white paper on local government in Midrand, north of Johannesburg.
We've been seized with trying to make sure that the people that run government have a better appreciation of how things are going. And they can link the debits and credits, performance report, the compliance issues to service delivery things that are important to you, especially as political parties. We have worked extremely hard to create that link so that we can no longer have anybody credibly tell us that, well, it's okay to have a disclaimer because our people don't eat clean audits. People used to say that. I don't hear it anymore. And it tells me that we are winning.
German industrial lobby group BDI says the German economy is set to contract more than previously expected in 2025 as US tariffs weigh on exports. The US was Germany's biggest trading partner in 2024, with two-way goods trade totaling $288 billion. BDI is forecasting a 0.3% contraction in 2025. In January, BDI had forecast a 0.1% contraction, but flagged that changes to US tariff policy might impact the export-driven economy further. A contraction in 2025 would mark Germany's third consecutive annual decline. Now for a look at our indicators this afternoon, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 547. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 33. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 56. And in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 9. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 51. Russia, 78 rubles 39. India, it's 86 rupees 49. China, 7 yuan 18. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 99 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities this afternoon, gold is trading at $3,366 and platinum $1,288 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $77.79 a barrel. And those are your business news at this hour. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459 for Channel Africa Business. I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Fresh and exciting. The Upside, hooking you up with today's news from the African perspective.
Well, we are certainly hooking you up with a phenomenal woman this afternoon, Advocate Thandi Orlane. I keep saying it with a twang. Mum Thandi, I apologize. Mum Thandi has been at the legal front for a very long time. Over decades, she has helped shape South Africa's legal, corporate, and social landscape. She has served as National Director of the CCMA, led mediation efforts across Africa, and sat on the boards of major companies and institutions, including the Beers, BP Southern Africa, as well as the Industrial Development Corporation. Mam Thandi, thank you so much for joining us yet again. I want to throw some random quick-fire questions in your direction. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm an early morning person.
Heels, flats, or sneakers?
Sneakers.
What's your go-to song when you need a confidence boost?
It's Whitney Houston's, what's this one now? I just love her. So I just throw in any one of Whitney's. I'm the old stars.
I want to dance with somebody would be one that sticks out for me. And then coffee, tea, or water?
Coffee. And then I try to get as much water in as possible.
Who inspires you?
Oh, wow. I'm trying to get somebody who is known, because some people who inspire me are unknown. But my inspiration has been in recent years, what's her name? Obama's wife. What's her
Michelle.
name? She's been my recent inspiration since I read her book, and I've seen how she's managed herself post the White House. But before that, I've had people from Louise Hay. Louise Hay overcame cancer. Because I'm a cancer survivor, and I read her books as I was going through my own challenges. So it's been across the board in terms of where my life stage has been, and I've kind of had inspiration from different people.
How do you celebrate a big win? And I would imagine a big win is overcoming cancer. Do you do it quietly or with champagne?
Champagne is always good any time of the day.
I love that. Have you ever had a major wardrobe fail before a big meeting?
Yes. That can be very traumatic.
How did you overcome it?
Like you get your favorite kind of splitting somewhere, and you don't even know how to sew, So you've got to kind of quickly, what I've done is really, because I've been a practicing lawyer, so my wardrobe has got a lot of black suits. You just move from one black suit to another with a white shirt.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
And let's now get back to the conversation of mediating tough situations. What would you say is your negotiation, I wouldn't say negotiation phase or negotiation style? When you are dealing with a tough situation, a tough case, how do you approach it? We've seen enough of the television, someone trying to play good cop, bad cop, and trying to get people to play together, peacemaker. There are different styles. What is your negotiation style during these mediation, tough conversations?
The style, stay calm. That's the first thing. People who play poker, you must develop a poker face. And secondly, you have to understand what is the interest of the person on the other side. Don't worry about your interests. You try to find out what is the interest of the other person. And then you start to understand what will the person be willing to give and not to give. Because negotiations is about give and take. So if you come in, you want, like a trade unions used to come in and say they want 20% increase. They know, they won't get 20% interest.
Reach for the stars and fall on the moon, right?
Then say, where is the moon? And the employer saying, he's going to start at like 0%. And you're like, are you crazy? You're calling for a strike now, And then you've got to say, where will that employer land? And that's where you start as a negotiator. Because I've come from it from a mediation perspective, I've got to bring the parties together. So that's helped me in my own negotiation skills.
Oh, I love that. And earlier I mentioned the fact that I would love to get your take on where women are standing now in the boardrooms. Are we seeing more women in leadership roles, high positions in the boardrooms? Where are we at right now when it comes to women representatives? And are we seeing a good fight being fought not just by women, but for the industry at large to ensure that they are well represented and that they are respected?
And we're seeing a lot of women in the boardroom, in executive positions. When people complain in public to say there are no women, they mean the whole universe. Whereas when you start zooming and look at companies, then you'll see the changes. So the moment you take the whole universe, it's like eating the whole elephant at the same time. You can't.
Yeah.
So you need to look at each. And I can give you examples of the company that I'm retiring from. On our boardroom, we've got more than 60%. In fact, we are 80% women.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's a private company, so it's not listed in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, so people won't know. Whereas in the other company I chair, and I don't want to advertise the other company, but the other company I chair, one of those you mentioned, actually I can say because you've mentioned the companies I'm on, Implats. I mean, we now are about 50% women as well, So you look at a company and you have to say, is this company transforming? And then you start going through. And then you can target those companies that are not transforming. Don't paint everybody with the same brush.
Hold it right there, Mam Thandi. We'll continue the conversation. We have a bill to pay. It's now 10 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African time. If you have any questions for Mam Thandi, advocate, businesswoman, phenomenal woman, send her a WhatsApp +276 406 9126.
Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Tamo kutuli bwanji ndi
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Mam Thandi, when you look back and you reflect on highs and lows in your career, you've seen transformation, and even though we may not be where we want to be, we are much better off than where we were. What does the future look like for South Africa, in your opinion?
Firstly, it depends on us, all of us. So how it looks is my lens. And that's why everybody has to visualize how their future South Africa and what role they are going to play in getting there. For me, there's so many opportunities in South Africa. And the future, if people take up those opportunities, can only move forward. So I'm excited about it. As long as I live, I will play my part and make sure that we move forward. It's tough right now. Everybody around the world is talking about how tough it is. And I can say in the 80s, it was very tough. My dad we used to say after the war, because he was born in 1928, it was very tough. So what is the level of toughness we're talking about? And there are people in South Africa who live so well. They actually are not exposed to the underprivileged people. Do they feel it's tough? They don't. So everything is relative. And you've got to have a positive mindset to make sure that you do the best you can so that you can see the improvements that you want.
And when people do look back at your life's work in particular, what do you hope your legacy will be?
It will be that I've made the change I've wanted to make and I've wanted to be. And the change I've wanted to see is reflected in the change that I've become, and that they can make changes in their own lives.
Oh, beautifully put there, Mam Thandi. And then finally, as it is Youth Month, what's your message to the young people, the young women who want to get into spaces like law, they want to get into business, public service, and for someone who's had such a long career? What has been the key to your success? What advice would you give them during this Youth Month?
We don't have time. I've got so much to give to them. I've got so much to impart to the youth, and I will have different platforms to do that. But for me, the main thing is have confidence in yourself. That is the first thing. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to be. Go out and look for people who can help you to grow. You can feel despondent, and I know it's tough. People come. I've chaired the council of the University of Fort Hare, and we've had students graduating, and then we look at the statistics of the unemployed, and to say parents have spent so much money, they've sacrificed so much, and these kids are not getting jobs. And there's a big world. I'm saying to the youth, don't only look to South Africa. Look beyond South Africa. You can always come back. Where an opportunity comes up, don't stay in Tata. We moved from Gqeberha with a lot of us, and we came to Gauteng, but we go back to Gqeberha. I've still got a home. I've still got family. I still go on holidays. And we've been doing things in Gqeberha.
Mam Thandi, this has been quite an honor for me to have a chat with you. Thank you for imparting such incredible wisdom, and I hope that our listeners at home really appreciated the words that you spoke today, that they were encouraged, especially during this Youth Month. You're doing incredible work, and we certainly hope that your work continues to shine in all spheres that you find yourself in. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thanks, Leo. It's been a pleasure, really.
The voice.
I've enjoyed this interview with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed chatting with you. The voice there of Mam Thandi Lekhuleni. She is an advocate, respected advocate, and businesswoman in South Africa. What an incredible job she is doing. I hope that you've been inspired, especially the youth of South Africa, not just of South Africa, but of Africa. She said, whatever you do, be confident. And remember home, yes. It's good to be grounded, but don't be shy to explore other spaces, other places for opportunities, as long as you remember to go back home. I love that. It is now 4 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African time. I see there's a song coming your way there by Olga. It says, Stand Strong.
And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa.
Stand strong. It's now a minute to go before 4 p.m. Central African time, and we welcome the one and only Tame Ngubeni. African Business coming up next. How are you doing? What's coming up on the show?
I am awesome. A really interesting show that we've got in store for you. As we do every single Monday, we give you our Business Africa Roundup with our SABC Economics editor, Tsepo Mongai. So we'll be looking at the economy, the economic community of West African states at ECOWAS. They've entered into economic development with 3 of its development partners, Spain, Germany, and the EU. We'll take a look at that. And also business executives and African leaders are in Luanda for the US Africa Business Summit. So we'll be taking a look at what's the main outcomes are of that, as well as the areas of focus. And a really huge slant on developments in Nigeria. Air Peace has secured a route to fly straight from Abuja to London. And
I saw that.
It's really big. It's really big for them. It's really big for them. And so we'll find out the impact that that's likely to have on the Nigerian economy, as well as an aviation in general. And also still staying in Nigeria, you'll remember the class action suit against Shell PLC and its local subsidiary. They've won that court case at the in the High Court in London. The River State communities are seeking compensation. We'll be talking to Shaibu Idris, an economist and managing director at Timeline, regarding that win for them.
Oh, that's all coming up on Africa in Business. As for me and the Upside, we'll do this again tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's get the news now. It's 4 p.m. Central African time.